A very good afternoon to one and all present over here. It's a very proud privilege on our part to present the second day of the technical session of our webinar series, Kindling Curiosity and Ushering the Young Minds into Research. I, on behalf of the entire organizing committee, that is Rajadhani College, in collaboration with G.B.N.Chainy University, welcome one and all to this webinar series of ours. May I now request Dr. Sangeeta Parida Madam, Faculty, School of Natural Science and Tribal Technology, to kindly present the address to our keynote speaker of the day today. Madam, please unmute. Please unmute.
Good afternoon or namaskar to one and all present here. It's my proud privilege to introduce Dr. G.B.N.Chainy, former head Department of Biotechnology, Utkal University, a scientist par excellence and a great teacher. He did his graduation from Ravenshaw College, his master's and Ph.D. from Banaras Hindu University under the guidance of late Padma Shri Professor M.S. Kalinga, with a teaching and research experience of about 4 decades. He exactly understands the brain capacity of the students. He has disbursed many administrative responsibilities during his service tenure, delivered many special lectures, organized workshops, symposiums, and refresher courses for the betterment of teachers and students. He has been a visiting scientist to many national and international universities, or to name a few, the prestigious Anderson Cancer Center, Texas, USA, Department of Biochemistry, Ops, and Gynecology, University of Miami, USA, and since 1979 till date, carried out his independent research work. He has 110 publications in national and international journals and many popular articles to his credit. He has authored several books and book chapters as well. He had collaborative research with various universities and institutes and has been a member of many boards. He has been a member of many professional societies like Association of Gerontology, ZSI, Society for Free Radical Research, Society for Reproductive Biology and Comparative Entire Endocrinology, and many others. An entire day would fall short to present before our audience his achievements and contributions to science. We all are definitely fortunate to have you with us, sir. With this, I hand over the platform to you, sir, please. Hello, sir. Sir, please unmute yourself.
Is it visible?
Sir, you are visible now.
Oh yeah, is it? I think it is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir, it is visible now.
Okay, should I start?
Definitely, sir.
Okay. At the outset, I thank Principal of Rajadhani College, S. Sarangi, and Head Bandita Ratha, and her colleague Priyadashini Rautrai, as well as the personnel from the KISS, that is the School of Natural Science and Travel Technology, for giving me a chance to share my views with you. Before I start, I want to correct something about myself. I was in the Department of Zoology from 1979 to 2010 till my retirement. Simultaneously, also I was handling the Department of Biotechnology. So as the topic says, Kindling Curiosity, ushering young minds into research. I have left active research since last a decade. And curiosity is a very peculiar word. The exact Oriya of curiosity is kautuha, the ones which we cannot see or which we want to see, which have certain bells in front of that, and we used to know what is behind that. That is what a curiosity. Our mind is also like that. But the most difficult task is to kindle the curiosity in one's mind. It's a very difficult one. And I am totally incapable of that. Always about this curiosity always comes to my mind. What is curiosity? So I thought that this is from the brain it starts. So I will start with my topic today. I'll discuss with you curiosity. What is curiosity? Always our mind remains there. So in my first slide, you can see a very comic picture by Bhubaneswar. Typical Indian walking, and also you'll find that so many I have at the top I have given two photographs or the pictures. One is from Upendra, who has written Vaidehi Sabrasa, a 700 verse Kavya. Every sentence starts with the word be, which was not repeated again. How one can do that? And simultaneously, another picture is there of Pathani Samanta, which with a stick could measure the height of the mountain. Plants can monitor the movement of planets. As this arrow goes, you will see that the curious mind has written Bhagavad Gita, invented computer, invented atom bomb, made us structures like Konak, and it has explored the Brahmanda. And where also again two Indian scientists are there, C.B. Raman and Chandrasekhar. It also dissected out the secrets of the life. And two notable Indians, Hargobind Khorana and Ramakrishnan is there. One deciphered the genetic code, other one make a ribosomes, how ribosomes are working. I have also given a person, Amartya Sen, who in the economics takes care of our monetary business. Another person is here given, Srinivas Ramanujam, whom Hardy described, a rarest mathematician of this century, who died prematurely at the age of 33. Now, there is one picture here. I gave it time to identify who is here among these luminaries. This is what we virtual one, you cannot ask question to the students. Many of you may not be knowing this figure. You might be knowing here all other personalities. This picture is of a infamous person, Natwar Lal. You should be curious, who is Natwar Lal? Natwar Lal is the famous conman of India of last century, who sold parliament twice, president residence twice, Taj Mahal 3 times, caught in 2007, declared dead, and 2009 again he appeared and claimed his property. What is common in that? Curiosity is that if these guys have achieved Nobel Prize in various disciplines like economics, physics, physiology, all in literature, what this man has done? What's the difference between them and this gentleman? If we see that, we'll go for certain stories, past some stories, and then we will understand that what is there. Here I have given a sum. This sum is, there's a 13-digit sum into multiplied by 13-digit sum. And this was performed by late Sakuntala Devi in the Imperial College of London. Before you write down these 13 digits into 13 digits, he already calculated the value in 26 seconds. What was in his brain? How his brain was doing such type of the marvelous mathematics so fast. Not only that, he has also done many mathematical miracles. He found out the cubes of the digits, 7th power of cube of the digits, and before computer could do that, he has given the exact answer. Not only that, if you read the Times of India, way back in 2018, a news came about Padma Prabha Chandrasagar. He was hardly 15 years old, a Jaina Muni, performed in the Bangalore whole day on 18th September, perhaps, if I remember correctly. People asked him continuously for 3 hours, many questions in different languages. And after the question session over, Padma Baba Chandrasagar, each person he told which question, which language they have asked. That's the power of the brain. You should be curious to know what is brain. Such type of the things not only happens there, everywhere in the world. We are back in 2002. A salesman, Jason Padgate, who was selling furniture in Washington and doesn't like mathematics at all, spends his maximum time in parts and other things. So one day in 2002 night, when he was coming out of a restaurant after his dinner, he was attacked by 2 hooligans. He was unconscious. He was taken to the nearby hospital, where they found that there is some bleeding in his kidney. So they gave him some medicine and a painkiller, and he was sent back to his house. When he came to sense, he observed very peculiar things. He couldn't see the, whatever things he saw, he found there lines. And those lines explained the pi. He was busy. He took the internet, studied some mathematics from the internet, and he was helped by a physicist. And very soon, he mastered in the mathematics, and you see the 2 handmade prints by him, where everything has a geometrically done, and the pi values were there. How it has happened? A person who was not knowing mathematics, how he turned to understand the formulas and the other things. Similarly, many other things also come. For example, if you read the Telltale Brain story by the Ramachandran, there he has described a candidate known as Susan. Susan always finds numbers in color. If you say any number, he will observe the colors, like for red, for some for the brown, something for the green, like this. And this type of the diseases are known, or the malfunctioning of the brain is known as the synesthesia. Means what happens, your brain has different territories for each sensory. And one sensory territory crosses its limits and mingles with another sensory one. This type of the phenomenon is known as synesthesia. What happens in synesthesia? The words give you the taste. Like for Martin, if he listens one word, he feels the taste of yogurt. If he finds the custard, he feels the dog biting. So these type of the things were found in the human being. Why this happens there? Many times, one more thing happens, known as the metaphor blindness. And this was happened to a neurologist. What happened? After a stroke, he couldn't understand metaphor meaning of the sentences. If you say him that all things which glitter, that is not gold, he will answer, yes, nowadays jewelers, they can cheat. They will not give you the pure gold. You will not understand the meaning in which context the sentence was delivered. All this happens with the brain. So we'll see and check that how brain is working. One of the words we come always in the mood swing. Mood swing happens. Sometimes we are very happy. Sometimes due to some reason we become very unhappy. And you see all the moods are given here. And from laughing to smiling to weeping, these all are there. And these are taken from the emoji, about which last speaker explained you what is emoji and how a beard full and without full was given there as a. So in this emoji one, you can find that people have different types of the face values. And this comes to tell you your behavior, like happiness, love, kindness, satisfaction, bonding, hate, anger, revenge, cunningness, jealous, fear, braveness, wise, intelligence, cleverness, ability, creativity, invention. I think you all, every day you must be facing it. If you find your colleague is doing very good, on the face you will smile at him, but from the heart you will be saying, sometimes parents, they go to the neighbor's house to congratulate the achievement of their words. They will say, congratulations, you have done wonderful, I am very proud of you. But again, they will come back to home and give a slap to his son or the daughter, saying, I'm spending 3 tuitions for you, and without tuition he stood first. What you are doing? So all these are our behavior. Those who have spent the time in the hostel, sometime while you will be getting the sleep, the other one might be reading by putting the light, and you get annoyed very much. Sometimes you suppress it, sometimes you make a frowny face, sometimes you asked him to this. And if this phase increases more and more, your brain can commit some time of the mistakes, as in Bhubaneswar happened in Nayapalli area by a old person who hacked his wife into pieces. Therefore, we say in English a proverb that face is the index of mind. What happens? Actually, all the 5 senses, we get our sense or pass brain from the eye, ear, lips, nose, and by the touch to the brain. We call them as the external signals, which brain receives them through the nerves. And from inside the body also certain signals come. Those are like hormones, glucose level, and the other. These all together, they regulate our physical activity and the behavior, which is reflected in our face. Here I will tell you one story. That is about a smile. Sometimes what happens, you see a person, instantly you give a smile. And sometimes what happens, you do not want a person dropped in, you also smile. Both the cases, the expression of smile is quite different. We'll discuss that later on. But remember it is just like when a photographer asks you to take a passport size photo, smile, you just smile, that you have to smile. But when you see a person, unexpectedly very fond person, you smile, and your face, all muscles were regulated later on. How brain regulates these 2 types of the smile? Or in the other word, I can say how the smile circuit is completed from your vision to your lips and the cheeks. Okay. Before we go, we'll see this is all happens in the brain. These 4 pictures, I show you that your body contains 70 kg and 1300 gram brain in compared to an elephant, which is 5 to 6,000 kg, containing 6 kg of the brain. But you ride over the elephant, not the elephant on you. So this brain, as you know, is made of the neurons. They are the specific cells of the brain. And what is their size? You can imagine that if in your forefinger you take a mustard seed, it will contain 100 neurons of 0.1 millimeter length. 100 microns they can be placed there. And this is in your BSc, also you have read from the high school. This is a structure of the neuron, which contains axons, soma, nucleus, Schwann cells. Then they connect with each other by the synapse. And if you see its power, that it conducted the information or the electric current through this conduction is 432 kilometers per hour. That means in a 1 hour, if you start from the Bhubaneswar, you reach Calcutta. If I take a pin and prick your toe, your brain gets that in 0.0125 seconds, commands the muscles to withdraw from that site because somebody is poking your toe with a needle. How this is happening? How many neurons are there? Some calculations have been made, and it has been now known that 86 billion neurons are there in your cerebral cortex of the brain. And if you join each neuron with lengthwise each other and make a straight line, it will be around 850,000 kilometers, much longer than the national highway made in India by the ministry, road building ministry. The brain alone contains 86 billion neurons, and your planet contains 708 billion population. So you can see enormous number of the neurons are there, surrounded by another various types of the cells, glia and others, which support them. And this billion of the neurons join with each other by the number of the synapses, which goes to 10 power to the 14. At the end of the lecture, we'll see and compare them, and we'll evaluate that what are these numbers. If human brain is like that, how long it has taken to come to this world? If you see the planet formed in the 4.5 billion year, and you just appear, if I take that as a clock, you just appear from today's 3.8 seconds earlier. This is 0, moving it to 24 hours. You just appear 3.8 seconds. That's around 2.5 million years. But you will observe one very important thing. You might have appeared in this world, modern man, but life appeared around 3.28 billion years. And slowly as it goes on, the ion channels, they come by 2 billion years. First synaptic proteins, they appeared 0.6 billion years or 3.2 hours ago. And so on, the complication of the brain increases. A complex brain, which is found in the frog, comes about 0.35 billion years and about 1.86 hours. And our primitive ancestor, which appeared here 0.2 billion years, around 1 hour earlier, and we just appeared. So what happened here to here, we'll see that. If you see the evolution of the, what is this is coming all the time, you will find that this is the evolution of the man. This is very irritating. The Australopithecus afarensis is known as the ancestor from where our modern man has come. Around in 1970-75, our hundreds of the skeletons were discovered in Egypt. And our forefather was found there. And this was known as Australopithecus afarensis. Total skeletal was there. And this is a gap which was filled up by this one. They are commonly known by the anthropologists as Lucy. Why they were named as a Lucy? They were named as a Lucy because when they got this link in the evolution, they celebrated in that desert that night, and they sang the Beatles song Lucy. Many stars are there in the sky. And from there, our brain developed, and modern men developed. What we found that from the skull size of Lucy and a modern man is a quite difference. Within this 100 years, the brain size has increased about 2-fold. Perhaps that has given man or the human being something ahead of other animals. And finally, what happens, if that is there, many of you must be now snoring by seeing my lecture. That is the gift of the evolution. You will not find such a comfortable snoring condition, except in case of the human beings. Now let us have about our brain. What is that brain? I have given here some points. The brain, if you take, it is around 1300 ml, or you can say a 1500 ml Coca-Cola bottle. There's no bone in this. the softest tissue of the body and rich in the fat. But every day you read that, don't take fat. It doesn't feel any pain because pain receptors are not there. Your eye blinks about 20,000 times per day. The brain coordinates that blinking time, and when your eye is seeing around, and you never feel that your eyes are blinking. In fact, your brain gets 70,000 thoughts per day. I request you all, please close your eyes for 30 seconds. Please close your eyes for 30 seconds. And try not to think anything and tell me what you have felt. I'm looking into my watch. Okay, you will find that even you think I will not think, you are thinking something. And this tissue is only 2% of your total body weight, but is a very selfish tissue. It consumes 20% of the total oxygen or glucose needed to maintain your body. It has certain peculiarities. It has enormous power than any computer the detector. For example, it can distinguish around different types of the colors in visible range. I said, emphasize the word in visible range. Not only that, it sets different colors. We'll find that when you whole market, 1,000 types of the red colors will be there, shades will be in the red color. And you will also find that in his dress is in this color, I should have the sari of this color. All these color distinctions happen. It can distinguish sounds from the 20 to 20,000 hertz perhaps. And it distinguishes between noise and the sweet music. It distinguishes the sounds of different animals and the tone of the person who is addressing you. Not only that, your another sense organ is capable of making 4,000 types of the taste. And your nose can smell 10,000 types of the smells. And one of the very peculiar thing is that in your body, the touch. The body touch or the types of the touch body can distinguish brain immediately. And it can say that is a touch is whether in a right way or in a malicious way. And it will withdraw itself, brain will command immediately. So therefore, how these things are processed, how brain distinguishes touch, how brain distinguishes different types of the sounds, how it distinguishes different types of the color, how it distinguishes different style of the taste. See, all these are the very peculiar thing with brain. The moment you are moving somewhere or eating some hotel a dosa or a chutney, the taste also triggers the memory of your brain and you say, "Are, wo bahut time ta chutney banauthala." Or you are going through a corridor or in the room and you smell a scent or a powder, immediately your mind memory will, oh, this scent was also used by him. Or this may be a Pond's, or this may be the other one. So that's what the brain makes. Not only this, once this clicked in your brain, you can imagine also your mother, what type of the saree she was wearing, how she was looking, everything. So the memory is in the brain. All these senses, when they come to the brain, they trigger one, and simultaneously they have the capacity to trigger all 5 senses, all other 4 senses. So therefore, the curious brain should be there to know that how brain is doing this thing, what it lies, what these points are there which can distinguish one from the other, how people they study it. And that's what my intention in this lecture. If I can evoke curiosity about brain to you, some one of you may like to take research in the neurology, neurophysiology, neurochemistry, and the other. So how brain is studied here? This fellow. So how brain is studied, we'll see in a very brief, without going detail into that. Brain was studied way back in 4060 BC. Before that, people were thinking everything lies in your heart. There is brain concept was not there. You tell, I love him from my heart, not from my brain. You never say that I love this subject from my brain. From my heart, I love it. But in 460 BC, Alcman of the Croton in the Greece, for the first time, he took a corpse brain, dissected certain nerves, and said that brain is an entity and it gets all senses to there. We'll not go trace back to that history. But first part of the study in the brain was confided to the morphology and the anatomy. It continued for a long time. People knew that brain has a sulcus, sulci, and a gyri. These are the things. Sulcus and the gyrus is here. And they found that if you take this, and now if you spread them, total surface of the brain, it will be equivalent to 2 printed pages of Sambad or the Samaj, around 200 square feet area. In 1719, Van Leeuwenhoek make a very primitive lens and he cut the section of the brain and studied their structure, which will come later on. And it continued till 1880. And when slowly the biochemistry was coming to understand the chemistry of the living things, Thudicum from the Germany analyzed the brain. He isolated many compounds from the nervous tissue or the brain, like sphingomyelin, myelin, and other compounds, and which gave a new direction to the neurochemistry, where the later on all hormones, neurotransmitters, they were discovered. For example, 4 neurotransmitters, important neurotransmitters, many hormones from the hypothalamus, then pituitary, they are isolated, characterized. And they continue till date. Effect of various compounds on those neurotransmitters or the neurochemicals. But in 1924, Hans Berger from the Germany, he measured the brain, the waves or the electricity coming from the brain. Way back earlier, Galvani and the Voltas have shown that the nerves and the muscles, they can charge or they can show electric current. On that basis, he measured the electric current of brain, and this is record those electric currents, and you will be staying there for 6-7 years. Nobody believed him. They said that this might be some type of artifact and other, but later people knew that it was there. Then slowly on the basis of that, so many things develop. First comes a technique known as a tomography. The tomography was developed by a British electrical engineer, and this British electrical engineer's name was Hounsfield. In 1979, Hounsfield is a electrical engineer, but he was working on the X-ray system, and he visited to a doctor perhaps, and the doctor said sometimes it is very difficult to take a photograph in the various angles of a bone, and that initiated him, and he developed a technology which is known as the tomography in 1979. This tomography was joined with MRI, which was discovered in Felix Bloch and P.M. Purcell in 1940s, and now it was possible that if you take the picture of a system, you can develop the, you can study these computer images. While it was doing, two techniques developed. One is known as the functional MRI in 1990 by Seiji Ogawa. Functional MRI was used first by this Seiji Ogawa from the Bell Company to measure differences between signals of two brain areas. His theory was there, whenever a nerve will get activated, it will get oxygenated blood. After that, this oxygenated blood will become deoxygenated. Oxygenated blood, the signal difference between the deoxygenated and oxygenated blood was taken by the MRI, and then it is transferred to Hounsfield's tomography, and with a different software, a colorful picture was developed, and by this you can measure which area of the brain is active or not. Within 2 years, another person, because in functional MRI, you have to push the person, put the other things in his brain, but how the resting brain is working. This problem was solved by an Odia person known as the Bhubaneswar in 1992. You'll be happy to know that Bhubaneswar is from, he did his engineering B.Tech from the Saranga, then went to USA, there he did, and he developed this resting fMRI. And he is from Bhubaneswar, and this technique by we can measure the brain, what brain is doing while you are sitting there without doing any task. So that understanding will happen if you are sitting silently. If your one center is activated, the machine will record. And if it simultaneously, if another center is activated, it will take. And so the pictures were made with this, and which are the centers which are active at what time, how they cooperate with each other, these are possible. But then how the neurons are going there, there's another MRI was developed by the Peter Besses in 1994, known as the diffusion MRI. In diffusion MRI, you take radioactive materials and they are passed through the brain, and while they are used, they leave their traces, which the MRI machine takes it, transferred into the signal and makes a picture. And late in 73, positron emission tomography was used, where the radionucleotides are used. But here I will tell you that one of the persons whom we have built, Damodarian, who first time used the functional MRI to locate the tumors in the body. Hansbergers found that all the waves which are coming in your brain, they can be divided into, as per their strength, as a gamma wave, beta wave, alpha wave, theta wave, delta wave. So we'll not go for that much, but what I will tell you that observations like morphology, anatomy, measurements, histology, biochemistry, electroencephalography, and experimentation. Together, one can study the human brain. So our whole brain is been divided into cerebral hemisphere, cerebellum, and the medulla. And first part is the frontal lobe, which works on the behavior, abstract. This fellow. Behavior, abstract, thought solving, learned skill, emotion, intellect, judgment, coordination, movement, generalized, mass movement, some eye movement, muscle movement, and libido. Or in the other way, you can say frontal lobe is responsible for planning and the coordination. The second important lobe you will see that is the parietal lobe, which analyze your sense of touch or the tactile sensation, perception of form through touch, response to internal stimuli. Somehow it processes language, helps you in the reading, some visual functions, and in space how things were there, those memories are stored here. Two important parts at the development of the human being, that is the mathematics and the language comprehensionship, lies here. And this part is not found in many other primates or the animals. Third is the temporal lobe near your ear for auditory memories, hearing pathway, some vision part. It processes language. It not only processes language, it also processes how you make a sentence. For example, I am going. You never say, am going I. So those are the parts brain regulates here. And it keeps your sense of identity, what you are. Temporal lobe maintains that. And the last one is the occipital lobe, which is related to our vision. It processes, interpret the vision, integrated the vision, and pass the information to other parts. Other two parts is beyond this lecture, that is cerebellum and the medulla, which we will not discuss today. But they are given coordination of voluntary movements, medulla for heartbeat, respiration, vasomotor activity. Now, if you see, I have shown you that how these things have been done in the human being. Human beings are not a rat you can dissect, take out the parietal lobe, take out the other thing. Those were done, such that the ablation glands were done in the rats or the monkeys. But what is happening, they cannot say. You have to infer the results by seeing their activity. If from the monkeys, if the frontal lobe will be taken out, what you will find that the active monkey will become very silent. It will have no interest around it. Or it will do something which it was not doing earlier. So one of the examples here I gave you, which happens in 1846. There was a person in United States, his name is Gage, G-A-G-E, Phineas Gage. Phineas Gage was a railroad worker, foreman. So one day while he was doing, to make the railroad, he was handling the explosions. While he was doing the explosions, all of a sudden, before time, it burst, and the rod through which it was pressing the explosion, it crosses his left cheek, eye, and to his brain. And you can see his one eye is damaged here. Lo and behold, as the incident says that, the doctor's record says that he stood up for 2 minutes, then he went to the doctor, said that this has happened. He cut a part of his brain from the mouth and remained there. Later on, they found that he became detached to anything. He was very skilled one. He was not concentrated on any other skill. He left that job. He went for the running the coaches, horse coaches, other business, and his affinity for the monetary changes, he started to sell the house and the other. Many times, this type of the cases you come across to your relatives when they come across some accident and other, you will find that this type of the behavior changes takes place in them. But the story doesn't end here. His brain was taken in 1944 and 2012, and with the fMRI, it was constructed, and it was found that from the data that around 11% of his frontal lobe was damaged by the accident. So therefore, this is the first experiment of this. Apart from this brain, there is another system, limbic system, which is fully developed only in mammals. It controls your instinctive behavior, stores memories, and helps mammals be more flexible than any other animal. This system constitutes of the cingulate gyrus, which goes frontal to this one. Then there is a area known as the amygdala here on both sides, and in between it has a area, amygdala is here, this one, two things, and then hippocampus is here, and then thalamus, pituitary gland, and hypothalamus. All these three glands, as you know from your biology background, these three glands work in unison to maintain a level of homeostasis. About the amygdala, which was discovered in 1822, it regulates all our emotion. It controls our emotion, and whatever the emotional one comes, it crosses it to your brain, frontal lobe, and then you take the answer. But it has two pathways. One pathway is that if it finds emergency or the stress, amygdala doesn't pass the message to the frontal lobe so that it will work. What to do? Suppose you are sitting and all of a sudden a snake comes below your leg. Your brain will not work there. Amygdala will immediately work, and you will get up, squeeze your legs, you will run away. So it gives you a symptoms, fight or flight. And when this type of the system comes, your decision was taken. Intelligence is known as, coined by the Daniel Goleman, known as the emotional quotient. Like IQ, this is the EQ or emotional intelligence, EI. How far it works, I will give an example, a story. Way back in 1988, a family in perhaps in USA, they have a daughter known as Andrea. Andrea had a cerebral palsy, and she was confined to a wheelchair. Once they were traveling in a railway coach, both parents, like Mary and Jerry, their name, Mary and Jerry Chainy, there was an accident occurred. The coach fell into a water source, water entered. Parents were immediately thought that we have to save our daughter. They saved their daughter. And in course of that, they died. That's what the amygdala works. That's what amygdala intelligence works. How amygdala hijacks your normal work, I'll give another example. That's a Maltida. Maltida was a high school student, came to her parents and said that she is going on date. So parents thought the daughter is going on date. So what they did, they went for a dinner. In the meantime, Maltida somehow returned back to house, and he thought that he will give a surprise when his parents will enter. While parents they were coming, they found there's some light and a movement in the house. So what they did, they took out the rifle which was near the door, loaded it, and slowly the father climbed the staircase. While he was climbing, daughter all of a sudden came out of there saying, "Ha!" and immediately fired before he recognizes that it is her daughter. So here the amygdala was hijacked by the situation which I gave, that for the means from your vision to amygdala, another circuit is there in all of our brain, and it was a primitive circuit. Now what happens, if anything comes, you see it, you think it, you plan it, then you take action. That is the second circuit of the amygdala. Now, there is a hippocampus. Way back in, there was a patient who was epileptic in the case, and doctors, to cure him epilepsy, they removed his hippocampus. When they removed his hippocampus, they found that patient is okay. There's no epileptic sign. This is the normal brain section. Here the hippocampus has been taken. But one thing has happened. This patient speaks old memories. If doctor has come and asked him, what is this? They say it is a pain. He will say it is a pain. After 5 minutes, doctor asked him, what is this? He failed to say. So his memory system, hippocampus memory, is associated with memory in case of the human beings by this patient's work. HMS, who now died, and his name is, people know, his full name is Henry Molassier. So if hippocampus is removed or it is damaged by either Alzheimer's disease, oxygen deficiency, or even vitamin thiamine deficiency, your memory system will fall. The memory system which falls in lack of thiamine in the hippocampus is also known as a syndrome, and this syndrome is known as a Kasper syndrome. Should we continue or? Hello? Hello?
Sir, please continue, sir. Please continue, sir.
So next one, we'll go and see that how brain science has evolved. As I told you that in 1718, this is a section of a pig brain where the neurons were not there, but some vessels are shown. By 1890, Raymond Y. Cajal, one of the top neuroanatomists who didn't like to go to the medical line, went for the drawing and other. His father persuaded him, who himself was a medical business. He asked that you make the diagrams. See, in 1890, this is the section of the brain made by the Raymond Y. Cajal. It is in the museum. See how clearly the work has been done. Our work should be so clear that even centuries after, data will show the same thing. Raymond Y. Cajal stained this thing with a very simple stains which are available in all labs with the methods known as Golgi's staining. Both Cajal and the Golgi got the Nobel Prize in 1906 perhaps. And then structural brain increases, and with all this, the concept of the neuron came, and we know by the 19th century, neuron looks like this, and conduction and others were done by the Axels, Hodgkin, Huxley in 63. They got the Nobel 1950s. They say how the conduction takes place, and they got the Nobel Prize in 63. Then neurotransmitters were discovered by the Axel Lord, Karl von Euler in 70s. And by 70, we understood what is the structure of the neuron and other. secondary techniques developed by immunofluorescence, immunocytochemistry to see. I have shown here the layer of the brain of an adult and the aged one. This is my brain, and this is the brain of Priyadashini and the Bandita. Now, as I told you, two techniques, fMRI and diffusal MRI, people started to measure how the neurons were distributed in the brain. And these are the tomography pictures, computer-made pictures. You see how finely the neurons, they travel front to back, side to side in a bundles. And these were given in different colors. And later on, they found that with the using the functional, resting functional MRI and the other, they located that which are the grids in the brain. They found the hubs in the brain. There are certain places where neurons are there. They join with each other, like our All India electricity grid. They are joined with each other. And this work was done by a Ph.D. student from the, I think, by Patrick Hagman. No. Something went wrong. By the Patrick Hagman, who made this picture during his PhD, and he used a word connectome. He used a word connectome in 2005, like genome, which was in early of this last century, and he coined the word connectome, and new branch of this happened, connectomics, where we study which part of the brain is there. So with this all non-invasive technique of MRI, PET, we can map the brain or what you are thinking. That also can be taken. I have taken here 3 examples from the literature. Kick, pick, lick. Kick, pick, lick. This is kicking by the leg. Pick is done by the hand. Lick is by your mouth. You can use both passive and active. You can kick a ball to your leg. Is that active? You can see somebody is kicking the football in the television football match. That is the passive one. And taking these 3 simple words, people find out that which are the areas are there. See, blue color kick is where, red color pick is in your brain where, and green color is where. In both the cases, movements are recorded in the brain. And reference has been given in the below that now a time has come that what you are thinking, that can be recorded by the MRI techniques. And here they think that how the leg-related words, hubs are joined together. Unrelated words are joined together. And face-related words are joined here. And finally they put, see, leg, arm, face, their areas were marked in the brain. And in 2016, Hoot et al., they make from the Berkeley University a complete mapping of the various words or various things. You use words for the body part. You use words for the person, like Priyadashini, Bandita, and others. You use the word social. You use the words for the visual, tiger, and seeing the pictures. You use the word for the tactile touch and other. All these areas in the brain now has been mapped by the Hoot et al. In 2016. So each bit of this is there. I told you that human brain is very peculiar. It has done 2 things. First one is I gave you the language. Other one is the mathematics. I myself was very weak in the mathematics. And 2 cases I have taken from the literature is a patient M and this is designated patient N. In neuropsychiatric study, patients' names were not expressed. See, this gentleman, cannot count 1, 2, 3, 4. Or if you ask that, add 2 prime numbers, he cannot do. If you can ask them to count 9, 8, 7, 6, he fails. He cannot read 5. But large and small digits he can see. Cannot add 2 plus 2. And he doesn't have a sense of approximation. Means, I will come later on. But the other person can add 2.2, cannot subtract 4 minus 2, can read 5, can speak fluently. And any multiplication asked, he has remembered by heart, but he has no number sense. Why he has no number sense, let me tell you. If I have kept here 2 and the 3, your brain, if I ask which one is the taller, you can say immediately 2 is taller than the 3. Any defective person, dyscalculia patient, also can tell that. Without no problem, he can say 2 is taller than 3. But if I ask out of 2 digits, which one is larger, you can immediately say, even when you are observing 3 is in size smaller than 2, you say 3 is larger than 2. A dyscalculia patient cannot say which one is larger or small. But if you make it 2 to 9, some probability can say. That means as the numbers, difference between the number decreases, approximation may not be there. So in 2016, sorry, it is written wrong, 2016, what did Arsad from the Imperial College? He found a very peculiar thing. Your right side of the brain, parietal lobe, takes the smaller numbers. If I take 2 and the 10, 2 is read by the right side, 10 is read by the left side. On the other hand, if I take 10 and the 100, now 10 is smaller than 100, 10 will be read by the right side, 100 will be by the left side. And he did this with 7 volunteers with a very sophisticated experimental way in a non-invasive manner, and statistically proved this thing. And later on, at the lobes, we found that if numbers that comes, many things are there. There is a phase angular gyrus, which make it. How it comes, I will tell you a story. Then the numbers will come and take part in different parts of the brain. It can go to frontal region. Inside that, there is an insular region, parietal cortex, where the numbers will identify. They will be known whether they are given in the number 1 or they are written in the words. And then if I put here 1, 1 is seen by your eyes, comes to the Broca's region, from their whole brain, from there to the Broca's region, then your Wernicke's regions, and they give to the frontal region to pronounce it is 1. And by 2018, Joseph Parvez, by taking many human volunteers, found that our this inferior temporal gyrus, this is, gyrus means this one. Inferior temporal gyrus has 1 to 2 million neurons which can distinguish the numbers 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, other things. It's a Herculean task. It's not a very small thing. I'll tell here one thing. As the words and the numbers are there, we can take a word like a dog. If I say dog, my Broca's and Wernicke's region, and this says the dog, which can be sent by an Indian who has never known English as a kutta. This will also same way the circuit will pass. And if it's taken by a Thai people who doesn't know English or the Hindi and calls the dog as the man, it will be there. Nay, if a Tamilian will be there, he will be speaking the nay to the other. Dog is same. Languages are different, but brain regions, they recognizing things. So with this, what will happen? If we understand this thing, those who are defective in dyslexia or dyscalculia, we can understand why it is happening in some people how we can correct to that. You will see that one very typical thing. Before going to that, let me tell you, most of the families now will be having one or two kids, and parents are working together. The kids are left before the TV. TV will be playing. Kid will be the ayah or the anybody is there who will be feeding them if your known relative is not there. Slowly you will find, earlier when we were speaking at the age of 3 and 4, this type of the stimulus has stopped its verbal skill. Many people, they come and they say, even I went to, actually my wife was a teacher here and in a kids school, kindergarten school in the department of psychology. So many cases I've seen where the 4 or 5 parents come every time, same problem. Now, why brain mapping is done? What is the future? Way back, see how the curiosity is there. When the computer came and brain was there, Philip Kane asked, can we take the signals to the computer? And can it put it to a other device? So here is a picture you see. This is a picture taken by the cat in the brain. And this picture of its neurons are projected by computer. You see same type of the pictures. So this program was developed by, what is this? By Jonathan Wolper in 2004, and now signals can be given to here, and this is known as the brain computer interface. By taking the signals from the brain to a computer, you can give an artificial hand or the leg and it will work. And in this way, Michael Nicholas of the Duke University has worked a lot. In fact, in 2014 in the World Football case, a paraplegic patient was given with a brain computer interface and asked to kick the ball in the game. What more? People don't stop. Intuitiveness goes more. And next one is that if this happens, can I read others' brain? So what they did, and this was involved by +1, a paper by the Rao et al. And +1, they did it, make this structure where the brain has all the EEG recording, went to a BCI server, and what it sees here, give the command, this will come to here, it will go to another main. Suppose they are playing a game that you have to shoot a rocket. He is thinking by saying that shoot the rocket. Brain takes the information, pass it to this man shoots, the rocket goes on, and he says, yes, he is saying the right thing. So this is known as the brain-to-brain interface. Time will not be less. We will be nearer to that very soon. And now, it's not that easy work. Why it is not easy work? I will give an example. If you take is it visible? This is the brain which has been taken as a section. If you take 30 nanometer thick section, it will consume in your MRI analysis data 1 terabyte of 1 mm square of this 30 nanometer section will need 1 terabyte capacity. Or 33, it will contain 33,333 sections, and to analyze it, you need 6 years. In case of the brain, if I take mouse, it will take, which is a size is 112 mm cube, it will take 600 years. Rat, whose brain size is 253 mm cube, will take 1000 years. Your size is 1300 mm cube. How long it will take, you can calculate with a piece of pen. And this data is available in National Neuroscience. Now, what's the capacity of the brain? If total brain, whatever information you have, you need 34,500 Intel Core i7 processor. This processor contains 1.7 billion transistors, and per mm cube of it contains 1.5 million transistors. See, compared to this, your brain, 60 trillion synapses, 100 to 300 synapses per mm cube. If you join them, they will come several kgs, more than 100 kgs. If you weigh them 34,500, I was measuring, it was about 27 grams. Your brain is hardly 1.3 gram, 1.3 kg. To run this, you need 10 power to the 9 watts. That means the locality of Bhubaneswar needs so much energy to burn. But to run your brain, you hardly need 20 watt, and that is a LED bulb. So information here in comparative term I gave, here 10 power to the 15 bytes of 10 power to the 18 bytes of the information will be there. Supercomputer, which is about tons of the weight, will contain 30 quadrillion. Your brain contains 3.4 quadrillion, being only hardly 1.5 kg. Processing speed, it is 8.2 million. Your brain is 2.2 billion. Whereas the energy required is to burn 10,000 houses, 900 million watts. Your only to LED bulb 20 watt. So by the time, let me tell you, there is an organization in the Switzerland, and there is a Blue Brain Research Institute, and they have made the cell atlas of the mouse brain, and they published this in 2018, where the 737 brain regions were measured. All types of the cell is like there, which is there. For analogy, I can tell you, this map is just like a Google map. You can focus on the Bhubaneswar, Sahid Nagar, my apartment, how many houses are there. Like that, this map will work. So therefore, I partly, if permit later, and I will continue, but I can tell you, Stephen Hawking, about 7 years back, he made a documentary was made by BBC on his life history, My Brief History. Stephen Hawking suffered a neurological disease after doing, at the age, say, when he was 22 or something, ALS, where the neuronal disease, where his brain neurons, motor neurons were dying. Doctor said that he will die within 3 years, but he lived up to 71 years, did a wonderful thing in the physics, and his book, Time Machine, you know, one of the most intelligent person, and what he wrote about the brain, you can read. I think the brain is like a program in the mind, which is like a computer. So it is theoretically possible to copy the brain onto a computer. Here spelling mistake is there. And so provide a life after that. Means he says that it is possible. My dear friends, I will tell you that if you biology, you have to read with the mathematics and the computer science, then only you will have curiosity to explore the brain various actions. For it, you can analyze the behavior, like the structural studies, how the responses are coming. Now, I have to say, hello, should I stop here? Hello, is anybody there?
Please, sir. Sir, please, sir, carry on. Please.
I think nobody is there, you and me only. Hello, should I continue?
No, sir. Everyone is there, sir. Everyone
Oh,
is.
okay, you can stop it here. Others can
Yes,
ask.
sir. Everyone is eagerly waiting, sir. Please continue.
Questions. Sir, should we take a question? So please unmute yourself.
If your time is already 4:30 is there. So I've made this one half. Other one is how the brain differs between the left and the right. Your brain is better and how my brain differs. That is the second part. But as the time limit is there, so I stop it here. If anybody wish to ask any question, they can ask, or whatever you ask me to do, I'll do.
So we can take some questions. Some students have some interesting questions.
Yeah, sure. If I know the answer, I will answer it.
Yeah, madam, please, take a few questions. The students have already.
I deem it as a great pleasure today. We have been learning for you, sir. We are learning from you, sir. And
Yeah, please.
we will be learning from you, sir. But every time we are awestruck with the uniqueness and the depth you have in store for us, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Stop it
One of
now.
the students, he wants to ask, sir.
Oh, somebody wish to ask some question.
Sir, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, he wants to ask that he has heard that the more we use our brain, the more improve it become and the connection and analytical skill increases. So how true it is?
It is very true. I'll give an example. Location of the place. That means who has asked, a boy or a girl?
A boy, sir.
The boy, while going to your college, he is coming from whichever place he will be going to his college. His left side has recorded those marks that this is the Said Nagar, this is the Acharya Vihar, this is this. So it has been now measured. And this is a task you cannot compare. So people were always more intelligent than us. What they did, they measured the area which is used by one category of people more. For example, they measured the left side prefrontal area, occipital area of London taxi driver. When they travel, they should have to remember all the places, and significantly it is higher than any commuter. So with the practice, this increases brain, and with practice, brain's another nature increases, that is known as a plasticity. That means you develop a skill. You'll find that a new person when comes, he is not good in a skill, but after practicing, his skills will increase. Is it okay?
It's perfectly, sir. No one can explain any better than you, sir. So another critical reason for suicidal tendency of a person.
मैडम म्यूट कर देती कि
ମୁଁ ଶୁଣିପାରେ ମାନେ ବୁଝିପାରୁନି ଠିକରେ ଏଇଟା
Sir, the question is there any biological reasons for suicidal tendency of a person?
Very good question. That was my last part of this talk. Decision taking. Decision taking. Is a boy or a girl again?
It's a girl, sir.
It's a
What?
girl, sir.
Huh?
Girl, sir.
Girl.
Sir, it's a girl.
Okay. So very carefully I should answer these things. I will ask her one question. Okay. Many times we heard that some person committed suicide. Is it death? It is a death ultimately. And sometimes we have heard about a person, Abdul Hamid. Abdul Hamid was the quartermaster general of Indian Army. In 75 war, when he was alone, Pakistani tanks were entering into Indian territory. He took that explosive in his body, and he jumped in front of the tank. So in his brain there was two conflicts: whether I will live or I will live for my country. The thought process, I should do something my country, overcome the other thought, and he he did this thing, bravery step. Many times, particularly in the girls, she can read this book, Daniel Goleman's Emotional Intelligence. Something happens to the girls, they fail to come to tell their parents or share with their colleagues. The guilt kills them. When it crosses one time, amygdala says that, amygdala hijack that and says that you can get rid of this guilt by killing yourself. That's why you commit the suicide. Am I correct? Do you understand?
So we'll take one last question, sir. Gunjan Farida is asking, sir, why do people of different gender react differently to situation in spite of having the same compartment in the brain? Is it just androgen and estrogen?
I think her question is a gender difference.
Yes, sir.
Am I correct? Gender difference.
Yes, sir.
She is of which year? Which year?
Presently,
Okay.
fifth semester.
You will find one thing. What is her name? Gunjan. If you go on all colleges, I have marked that. All colleges seminar, when I go and talk, I found that usually girls are seminar secretary. They speak better. Since they speak better, their linguistic side has been developed better. And so they are fluent in the communication. At the same place, if you take a boy, communication will not be better. He will speak. It's not that they're totally dumb. Otherwise, I would have been a dumb. So it is not like that. But the organization of the hall, you will find that a boy will be doing. Light mic, all he can do. So it is a set of the brain when developed from mother's fetal condition. Our brain has three regions. One is the communication center, other one is the aggressive center, and I don't remember one more center slide is there. Three centers are there. With the course of time, the girls developing in the 8-week fetus mind is a fine Xerox copy, which is exposed when to the testosterone. Its communication center decreases, aggressive center increases. You will find that always the boys will be busy. Elsewhere in the linguistic system develops. And that is due to the hormone and hormones under the influence of the hormone development of the brain. But this is a very peculiar question because in 2005, Vice Chancellor of the Harvard University said, I found that I failed to recruit many ladies because they were not there. So many of the Lawrence, and Nancy from the MIT immediately left that meeting. And it was such a big strike that Lawrence has to resign from the Harvard University Vice Chancellorship. So whenever this type of a question comes, one should be very careful. Okay. Next. Anything? Over?
Hopefully, sir, no more questions. But really, sir, everyone, we are getting lots of chats that it was a very informative and interactive session. They are saying they loved, they liked each bit of it. And I would personally thank you, sir. Lucky once again to hear from you. Less fortunate are the rest of the world who have not practically heard your classes. So I take that opportunity of being fortunate enough. Thank you, sir. Madam, please. May I now request Vandita Madam to propose the vote of thanks? Okay, sir will be proposing. Sorry. May I now request Chittaranjan Bhoi, sir, to kindly propose the vote of thanks?
Well, a very good evening to all of you. As the customary of the institution and any meeting, and here following the dictation of the organizer, Dr. Bandita Rath ma'am, HOD, Department of Zoology, Rajadhani College. I am privileged to extend a vote of thanks this evening. In fact, we are indebted. We are grateful to Professor Dr. Achyuta Samanta, founder Keynote, Professor Sasmita Samanta, Vice Chancellor, KISS University, Dr. Sasmita Sarangi, Principal, Rajadhani College, for their patronage, advice, guidance, and blessings. But sir, the key attraction of this evening, Professor G.B.N.Chainy, sir, Professor Utkal University, he rightly said that brain is a programmer. Of course, brain is a programmer. And he, in his speech, he said nearly 70,000 thoughts hunt our mind every day. So a researcher has to be very focused when so many thoughts are coming from different sites and varieties. It is a single person who has to decide what to do, and he should be extremely focused. Sir initially said, defined curiosity, how different curiosities come into human mind, especially to the researchers. He told us different stories of real life situations. He told us about human evolution, and he very fantastically dissected human brain. And he said us about the function of brain from various angles, which I could not understand. Most of the part I could not understand, sir. This is my laxity. I honestly confess this, but it was brilliant. And the entire talk and discourse was informative, educative. It was scientific, intellectual. And I think all the participants might have got a lot of relation from the deliberation made by the chief speaker or the key resource person of this evening, Professor G.B.N.Chainy, sir. Sir, I am grateful to you. All the organizers are grateful to you for your kind presence and for your kind deliberation this evening. I would like to extend my thankfulness to Sangeeta Parida, ma'am of KISS University, for introducing the keynote speaker, the chief speaker of this evening or this webinar. I would like to extend my gratitude to Dr. Bandita Rath ma'am, head of the department Zoology, who is the organizer of this webinar, for beautifully organizing this webinar series. And perhaps, not perhaps, this is the third day of the webinar series. And she has been wonderfully organizing this webinar. So thank you, ma'am, for your beautiful organization. I would like to thank the moderator, Dr. Priyadarshini Rautrai, ma'am, the Assistant Professor, Department of Zoology, Rajadhani College, for nicely moderating. In fact, she is another key person and major stakeholder of this webinar, and she has been moderating this webinar very nicely. Thank you, ma'am, for your kind moderation, beautiful moderation. I thank the coordinator of this webinar, Dr. Rasmita Rasmi Mahapatra in our absentia, for coordinating this this webinar. And the best part of this webinar today is I could find more than 200 participants or delegates attended this webinar. It shows that the webinar is absolutely a successful one, and everybody very minutely listened to the deliberation made by Professor Chainy. And from all of us, we thank Professor Chainy for his deliberation. And I wish every participant a happy Diwali in advance, because tomorrow and day after tomorrow are the Diwali days. So I wish everyone a happy Diwali, and I wish everyone, because of you, this webinar is a successful one. So thank you, and a happy Diwali to all of you. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bandita Priyadarshini.
Thank you, sir.
और मैडम का नाम था उठे जानी पालिनी
Sangeeta madam.
Sangeeta madam.
संगीता मैडम आउ हम भोई बाबू रहली ओके सी यू
Sir.